This is a presentation on Kingwest Resources Limited for the 1-to-1 APAC conference. Firstly, I'll give you a brief corporate overview. Kingwest Resources is a relatively small company with about 154 million shares on issue, a market cap currently of about $23 million. Top 20 shareholders own about 50% of the company. Our board of management is very technically strong, with geologist, mining engineer and a metallurgist making up the board. Collectively, we have more than 100 years experience in the Eastern Goldfields region of WA. This is an introduction to our main projects at Menzies and Goongarrie, which lie on the Goldfields Highway north of Kalgoorlie, respectively about 80 kilometres and 130 kilometres north of Kalgoorlie. So a great location in the Eastern Goldfields of WA. There's a very high grade historic production at Menzies, and it was one of the original gold camps in the Eastern Goldfields when gold was first discovered there in the late 1890s. Our company strategy for 2021 was firstly to increase the surface mineral resources at Menzies, complete a scoping study focused on these near surface resources that are open pittable, increase the deeper resources, prove up additional resources which might later go into underground production, and on push ahead with our greenfields exploration, particularly at Goongarrie. Firstly, on the near surface resources, we've just recently announced an upgrade to the market, and we've increased our resources from 320,000 ounces to 446,000 ounces at 1.3 grams per tonne, using a half-gram cutoff. We've also increased the indicated resources by 170% during the last 6 months, basically. So it was very important to increase the indicated resources so that they can go to the scoping study. All of the resources you can see in the image there are within a corridor at Menzies, spread over about 15 kilometres. Here is the new resource table. It's made up of 9 separate resources. On the right hand side there, you can see an image of the central zone, which includes the Pericles, Lady Shenton and Sterling lodes that are all very close to the town there as well. The Lady Shenton open pit is shown there, and the red areas are the resources projected to surface. So about half of the intended production will come from that area, those combined lodes there. You can also see there is a higher grade component. If you increase the cutoff to 1 gram per tonne, then we have 315,500 ounces of 1.83 grams per tonne. The scoping study, which is almost complete, ready to release in the next few days. We believe that will be positive, some very positive results. The focus is, as mentioned, on the near surface resources that can be open pittable. So half of the pits will be cut back, and half of the production will be from new pits from surface, and they'll all be trucked to toll treatment facilities within 100 kilometres of Menzies. So we don't have to build a mill on site, and we don't have to build huge infrastructure. We don't have huge infrastructure requirements. Now, extending the resources at depth, I'll just show you 2 long sections of 2 of the lodes, showing that to date the drilling has really been limited at Sterling, for example, which we discovered just over a year ago. It's been limited to the top 100 vertical metres, and you can see some very good high grade hits there that are open at depth. So we'll be drilling out the next panel between 100 and 200 vertical metres, and then continue to extend that at depth this year. The resource estimates that we just released, they're limited by those depths listed on the left there, between 100 basically and 175 vertical metres depending on the lode. So, and they're all open at depth. There's a lot of potential upside there with additional work. The Lady Harriet system is a good example. There's only a small pit there. You see the high grade resource blocks outside the pit in red is is the high grade. There's a lot of potential to extend these at depth as well, and once again, very limited drilling. Quick mention of our Greenfields exploration upside. At Goongarrie, we just recently completed our first pass aircore drilling. There's been no effective exploration within the project area for the last 20 years. And largely that's because a lot of it is under current salt lakes or ancient salt lake sediments, which form a blanket and mask any the mineralisation at depth. Our first pass drilling there, we hit 6 metres at 17 grams per tonne at the bottom of the hole, and that was within a larger 38 metres at 3 grams per tonne from 62 metres. So that's very encouraging. There's also mineralisation in the adjacent holes. So that is a long strike also from Ardea Resources discovery just outside our southern tenement boundary there. And that is also a long strike from Bardock Gold's Aphrodite deposit further to the south. So it's very well strong mineralised trend, and we're going to be following up that with additional drilling further to the north and under the salt lakes within the next few months. So there's a lot of upside there. So in summary, our strategy for 2021, we increased the near surface Menzies resources, so we've just completed that. We're completing a positive scoping study, and that will be released to the market very soon. Increase the JORC resources at depth, and that will be taken away at that basically for the remainder of the year. And advancing the exploration, grassroots exploration, particularly at Goongarrie, but also at Menzies. So this could all lead to us being in production with the open cut mining at Menzies within 12 months, because all of these resources are within granted mining leases as well. So now we have to continue with our economic studies and drilling for the rest of the year, but we're very well positioned to advance towards mining within that 12 months, and at the same time continue to explore at Goongarrie and discover new resources.